let their dream come true to be at the World Championship in Tokyo this year.
And for the other person, it means goodbye European Championship, goodbye Tokyo. There's always winners and losers. When there's a winner, there has to be a loser. And Guillaume versus Paul Robert, it's a battle for the ages. Our duelists are fierce.
And they are ready as well, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get this second match here of top 8 underway. Who is going to make it happen, Guillaume or Paul Robert Goss? Let's find out. And it's only fitting that it is Q-Tune versus Branded, the two top decks of the format, the two most represented decks of the format, clutching it out here against each other. And wow, Paul winning it with a 5 against a 4 there and having the pleasure, the right, the opportunity to go first here in this match.
It is an advantage, especially versus a deck like Kewl. However, the strength of Kewl is that you cannot rule it out when it goes second. There's so many hand traps in this deck. Now, Paul, looking at his hand, I can see a Mulchami, which is not what you want to see when you're going first. There's also an Albion Shrouded Dragon. This does not look like the best hand that never loses to any hand trap.
Oh, there is an Aluber, vulnerable to cards like Effect Veiler and Infinite Permanence, but I think Guillaume nodded super quickly, so it will be resolving here.
The Jester of Despia. Are we going to add Branded in High Spirits? And once you have this card together with Albion the Shrouded Dragon, this is the best version of Branded in High Spirits you could possibly have, because you're actually allowed to send Ash Blossom. Joy Spring is huge here, because you cannot send a dragon to the graveyard from the extra deck, and that is the best extra deck send that you can have.
All right, so I guess we then just have to activate that Albion the Shrouded Dragon in our hand, trying to find another miraculous card, hopefully trying to find a card like, of course, Branded Fusion or Triple Tactic Talents or something along the lines of that.
We're gonna send a Fallen of the White Dragon, and that indicates something like a Cartesia.
It could.
Because you're now then able to just summon it, special summon it from hand, activate, go into the Gran Guignol, and that basically starts you off-ish into your combo. Let's see, what is Paul Robert's next plan?
And Branded Fusion was picked up, I believe, with that one draw, and we go in and we resolve the most powerful of all branded cards. It has been like that for plenty of years. At this point, you may argue it's not even anymore, but when it resolves, it's still huge.
And it can't be ashed anymore, and there is a card that has found its way into many of those branded main decks, and that is the Kit Tri-Brigade Springens kit. When it's sent to the graveyard, and that has so many applications,
oh yeah,
it is going to summon a monster that mentions Fallen of Albers from the graveyard.
And that makes me believe that the Branded Fusion must have been in his hand already, because he was planning to bring back that Fallen of the White Dragon all the way through, and he now gets that really strong new version of Fallen of Albers onto the field in just a second.
The question is, what are we going to do with the Albion? Because are we going to really use the effect and banish itself now from the field plus a Fallen of the White Dragon? That does sound sub-optimal. Another cool thing about the Tri-Brigade Springens kit, by the way, is that it is a different type, a different monster type for Branded in High Spirits, so you can send the dragon that devours the bomb.
Does he maybe have something like a DD Crow or something? It's Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion, but we have activated the effect of Albion the Branded Dragon as Chainlink 2, so we are stopping only, in quotation marks, that, so the Fallen of the White Dragon still gets onto the field here.
Basti, that is the sheer power of the branded deck. That is 2 hand traps already, and you are still establishing a huge field. And now that is also a new inclusion, the Dogmatica Ecclesia. You don't always want to summon the incredible Ecclesia, the Virtuous, but this one adds you Fallen and the Virtuous, because that's always treated as a Dogmatica card. Now you can activate this, send something like a Titaniclad and destroy your own Albion, so you can use that effect in the graveyard in the end phase too.
Absolutely. And Leo, I've seen plenty of matches this weekend, or plenty of games where the single Dogmatica Ecclesia was sometimes enough. Like, it was so often just that with a couple of cards in the spell and trap zone, like the Fallen and the Virtuous, and then a super polymerization, and then you're good to go. Okay, we're stopping the extra deck shenanigans here for this turn, but be sure next turn there's a lot of them still coming.
Gonna unleash hell on you, and that is again the strength of Branded. We're sending Cartesia, and now there's a question you need to ask yourself in that moment. Do I want to add the Cartesia back to my hand, because that is a possible effect that you can activate, or do I keep it in the graveyard together with my Fallen and the Virtuous, send something from the extra deck to the grave in the next turn to destroy something, and then trigger my Quem to summon back the Cartesia?
I feel like we could just get it back into our hand, and then there's plenty of ways in our opponent's turn to just get it back into the graveyard to then get it back onto the field again.
With this field, I don't think there is, because we don't have Incredible Ecclesia, the Virtuous. We have Dogmatic Ecclesia, so we don't have the access to summon out the OG Fallen of Albas from our deck and then discard the Cartesia to activate that effect. So right now, from the cards we know, I don't think we can access the Cartesia otherwise. And this is why we have set the Fallen and the Virtuous, the Quem on the field, set up Cartesia and Graveyard as a possible target.
Ooh, okay, Guillaume does what this deck does best, reveals the Rotary for the additional normal summon, and we are going to use that for that very Rotary.
Shows the Ghost Ogre. There was, wow, the Ghost Ogre could have been incredible. Or immediate Fallen and the Virtues on that Rotary, sends Rindbrom as well. There's also a Ghost Ogre in hand, 3 more cards, one of which we know Quem immediately goes to do the work, gets the Cartesia out. Paul has all the options now.
Oh, and that's 3 cards remaining in hand. One of them is another Rotary, so we try to normal summon again with the known Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit in hand. Of course, that would be a level 4 Synchro into the Track Maker, but Paul says, I want to use my Cartesia right here, right now, and we want to fusion summon out a way, possibly to get rid of that. Ooh,
I think we popped the Albas. We pop the Albas. Fallen and the Virtuous takes out the Fallen of the White Dragon. Therefore, Cartesia can basically only go into either a Despia monster like the Corides or into the Grand Guignol. Grand Guignol has no immediate impact here.
Let's see whether we play some new options maybe as well in the action.
Oh, he has Albas in hand! He has the Albas in hand! The Fallen and the Virtuous does nothing anymore, and Cartesia fuses with him, summons out the Albion, and the pure Rotary is not gonna be enough! Paul Robert goes, wins the first game versus Guillaume Marron.
Yep, no fusion monsters on your end field, but still plenty of ways to bring them out on the opposing turn. So we are in the lead and on the board, and that must be a huge lead there right away. And you see, he's taking a deep breath there right now, knowing that he's only 1 game away from the World Championship.
Some hands in Branded, they just trade so incredibly well with hand traps. If you have a full hand of Engine, there is no way that cards like Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre, Ghost Bell are going to fully stop you when you play the turn correctly. You will always get one effect through, and then it's this crazy snowball effect of just accumulating all of the cards somehow. Every card somehow sends something to the graveyard, and all of these cards have a small little impact, and it's really hard to pinpoint a choke point versus this deck.
It is, and Paul Robert is one of many players in the field this weekend that is using the new pot card from Chaos Origins, the Pot of Sloth. And in this matchup, it's so good just making sure against Q-Tune that they are not aware of what you have in hand anymore when they already saw your hand with the Q-Tune Rotary effect, of course. So that is certainly a free off that is finding its way here into Paul's main deck after side decking.
Big question is, what does his deck offer going first? Because right now, of course, he has to worry going second, but Cooltune is rather favored going second. Let's put it like that. If you don't have the craziest of hands, the Cooltune deck can basically outplay you. So in the end, Paul Robert might actually be able to start again. And what does the Branded deck do then?
But let's focus on that game that is ahead of us right now, right? So we are very possibly just going to make it here 2-0, because there is next to the Pot of Sloths also 3 Molchami Purulias in his side deck. So many drawing options. And I mean, you say the deck is going first favored in that particular direction here, but I think Branded, when you put those decks next to each other, I like it even better going second sometimes with the super polarizations, with the Fallen and the Virtuous and all that. I think you cannot rule out Paul at all here going second. I'm sure he has won multiple matches already throughout this weekend against Kewl where he won a game going second. He actually, in the very last round of the tournament, in round 15, he played against fellow German Yugioh in a branded mirror match, and he came out on top, securing his spot here in the top 8.
That is absolutely massive, and now only Guillaume Marron stands in his way. Who is it going to be? Is Guillaume going to level the score to 1-1, or is Paul booking his ticket to Tokyo? We're going to find out.
Game 2 of the most important match of their lives about to begin. France versus Germany. We have 3 Germans overall in top 8, and we do have 2 Frenchmen. So who will be joining the team of Josh Kelly, Yannick Ackermann and Danilo Siracusa at the World Championship? There is one of those sided Mulchami Perulias immediately for Paul, but there also is called by the grave from Guillaume to counter that.
Ring, ring.
Who's there?
It's the grave. Take your Perulia and get out of here. You're not going to get any of these draws. But there is a Mulchami Fuvalos just right after, and that might even be tougher. Paul Robert is resolving one of the most important cards. However, playing with 3 cards on Branded is not always that easy, and Kewl does have access to pretty powerful turns by just ending on a track maker.
They do. Kewl is one of the best decks of going for a rather minimalistic field, but then you're making yourself vulnerable to other non-engine, like, for example, the Fallen and the Virtuous and things like that. But we do start off here with Mix, and that is not necessarily the best start here. And Rotary for another normal summon. So I think we're just trying to maximize resources here. You can tell that Guillaume was trying to really not have that Mulchami Perulia negated there, because we were summoning from the hand left and right. There's the track maker now.
If you start with a mix in this situation, it means that your hand is a little bit tougher. He just wanted to take out trade card for card. If you're not planning on summoning too many cards from hand, which a Q in hand actually could have done, I think Perulia is also something that you can let go, because a Called by the Grave versus a branded deck is also a pretty powerful tool.
It is, for sure.
And, okay, I just thought he passed, but he just said, hey, let me see your hand.
Let's have a look. Ooh, so this hand is not great. The Springens kit is something, that you can discard and that can generate value. Well, not the Springens kit, the Tri-Brigades kit. When you're trying to discard it for the branded opening, there is nothing in that grave just yet to bring back, though. So,
Paul Robert does have a way to play, and that is the branded opening. Plus, he has another Fuvalos, and that card is actually really strong. If you have already... Oh, wow, we are seeing the Fallen and the Virtuous and Branded in High Spirits, and honestly...
Oh, look at Guillaume. Both cards are crazy. You kind of don't want to give any of those to Paul, so one of them will be banished, and I feel like the other one might just go under the deck, Oh, it does.
He lets it stay on top, because he says, okay, the rest of the cards in your hand are not as crazy. Sets 3 cards. Has, of course, added probably double Kewl Synchro. The thing is that if you actually
we added Kewl playlist, actually.
Oh, yeah, true.
That is another form of interaction.
He needs to play into the Fuvalos quite a bit.
Yeah.
Unless, wait, no. You can immediately just chain a Kewl Synchro to the activation of the Mulchami Fuvalos, and then at least get a Zalen out like that. But that you're then going to lack the bounce of the Trackmaker that is usually quite powerful.
And look at that. Now, Paul is the one just going into his thinking tank, lining up the turn, trying to figure out what the perfect way is to play this out. I briefly talked to him before they went into this top 8 match, and he said, I was the last one missing from my friend group. His friends, for example, Ernst Schulze made a top 8 run in one of our YCSs this season, and he didn't quite get there yet this season when they were playing Draco Tail and Branded all season long. But this event is his event, he said. And I told him it's a good time to make it happen here at the European Championship when the World Championship qualification is on the line.
That is possibly one of the best moments, I would agree. Now the question is, does he start with a Fuwalos or does he just ignore the Fuwalos in his hand? Cannot imagine that's the case. First Fuwalos is being activated. Does Guillaume respond with a cool tune synchro to then possibly make a Zalen? Or what? Another thing that could actually work quite well is cool tune synchro, add Rekko, and then just use Mix and Rekko and go into RS, because you know one of the few ways to play is the branded opening, but Fallen and the Virtuous is also still there, so it's tough.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, it doesn't seem like an easy decision here at all from Guillaume's end. I do feel like you have to change something here, though, right? You can't let Paul just generate value more and more with that Mulchami Fuwalos. So yes, we've made the decision to chain Q-Tune Synchro.
Do you just chain 2? Because you do have the Cool Tune playlist to chain as well, so you could make RS and Zalen.
The thing is, the Zalen is only so strong when you actually have one of them remaining, so...
Well, you have the Cool Tune playlist still, right?
Yeah. But do you have 2 Q-Tune Synchro? Is that the case? Because we searched for the playlist. I'm not certain we have 2 Q-Tune Synchro even set there.
Very, very good point.
So we do go into a remix here. And that is all there is for now. Is there even something super valuable in the graveyard right now which we're trying to get back into our hand? There is no hand interaction, right?
No, I don't think we have ashed anything before, so it just sets you up for another synchro summon, basically, or some more resources. Perhaps Guillaume has enough hand traps in hand to stop his opponent from playing. I mean, there is only branded opening to play, so if you have an Ash Blossom to negate that, I think setting up resources
good to go.
is huge.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. Also, I think Remix oftentimes is just an option when you have Effect Veiler as well. Like when there is no hand interaction in there just yet, then you have the Effect Veiler, which you can add back and then use again, which is really, really huge.
That is absolutely true. It's a way to make the most out of your cards. And now Paul Robert, because he has to go for his first push and his only push, honestly.
Oh, it's fine though. I mean,
I think you're onto something with the Effect Veiler, Basti.
We might have the Effect Veiler, but this could be draw phase, well, that's the problem. So like, it's not guaranteed that we can Veiler this. So the Aluber is resolving as well.
So what is Aluba going to get us? It is not going to be a branded and high spirits. I think we have to go for the branded fusion. Perhaps Guillaume is also just waiting for that card to use an Ash Blossom, to maybe use a Solemn Accusation or Solemn Judgment.
Are we getting it or not? We're trying to figure it out. Branded fusion time.
Does it resolve? Is that going to be a send to...
We are resolving it. There's no way. Paul is really allowed to play into this. And the moment Guillaume will be responding, he will be gifted with more cards in hand due to that second Bolchami Fuwalos resolving.
If he decides to make synchros. I mean, now we are in main phase, so perhaps a summon to Albion is actually just
still applying. Yeah, you're right. And because nothing activates in graveyard here.
And the good thing is that the kit was already discarded for him, so it cannot send kit, and kit would immediately trigger.
Oh, we do go for the Q-Tune playlist there immediately, and we are going after the Rotary. Interesting.
Cool tune playlist with the Rotary is a pretty strong answer. Paul Robert is still reading this card. Let's bring it up as well, because you can target one cool tune and then you can, I think, bounce, right? Yeah, you can bounce the Albion back to the hand. And...
No, I think you can only put the Rotary back into your hand, and that's what we're trying to do here. And then you can basically do both of the effects, and you can also apply that target's effect when it's sent to the graveyard. So you can technically take the Fallen of the White Dragon from the graveyard here to then make sure that there is at least no Mirror Jade coming out of this, because then the Albion doesn't have that many ways to fusion summon anymore. But there still is the Fallen and the Virtuous being chained onto the...
I think that we are trying to summon back the Fallen of the White Dragon with our Fallen and the Virtuous, because we have sent Ecclesia together. He knew about the cool tune players. He knew it all along. And now Guillaume is being confronted with such a strong play from Paul Robert. If that is the play that books you worlds, you have heavily deserved this. Guillaume is not looking too happy about the situation here.
No, I think we successfully now force our opponent into at least having to activate another effect to get into a Synchro Summon, which was not really the plan to give him any more draws into the Fuvalos, but it seems like we have successfully forced them to. And interesting enough, through the cards that Guillaume gave him. Like, Guillaume was like, yeah, you can keep the Fallen and the Virtuous. On the other end, like, with the Q-Tune deck, I'm always such a fan of keeping one of the cards on top, because even if they're both decent, just knowing the card and getting that complete information is so valuable.
Now, after 5 minutes post-resolve, we have resolved the Branded Fusion and put it to the graveyard.
Beautiful. Oh, even better, we don't even need to take the Fallen and the White, or Fallen off the White Dragon, because we can just remove the target from Q-Tune playlist.
That is just an extra light monster that we're having on the field if we want it. Now the thing is, we are resolving the Albion, the Branded Dragon right now, don't we?
I mean, I would assume so. But we could also just activate, like, you could apply the effects of Q-Tune playlist in sequence. So, I mean, we cannot apply the effect of the target anymore because the target was removed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So we are now finally going to resolve the effect of Albion. So Paul's plan went through, and that looks like a Mirror Jade. And I mean, the Mirror Jade is insane against Remix, because whenever they activate the Remix, you can just respond with it with the Mirror Jade, and then you can deny what Guillaume was trying to do. Paul isn't happy to banish the Albion, of course, because that wants to be in the graveyard, but when you're getting Mirror Jade as a reward, it's still fine.
There we go. In the EMZ, playlist resolves, goes to the graveyard, or, well, it kind of doesn't resolve. And now Paul Robert is going to think, because if you now use your player priority and activate the Mirror Jade immediately, that does play around the Remix. If the Remix is activated first, you're not doing anything.
The way you're saying it is completely correct. So, yeah, does Guillaume respond or not? I mean, even if you use the Mirror Jade first, they can chain the Remix and they can still get to a Synchro Summon, you know?
It's the last card in Paul's hand, the Forbidden Crown. That is also another completely insane card.
It is.
That might actually...
Oh, we go Battle Phase, I believe. That's a way to force those things out as well.
Yeah.
And that is an attack onto the Trackmaker. And that's now the moment where Guillaume sees himself forced to use the Q-Tune Remix.
Now, are we going to see a chain of the Mirror Jade? It does look like it, because he doesn't want to get the Trackmaker to Synchro Summon on him. So, Mirror Jade, as response is being activated. What are we sending? Could be Dragon that devours the Dogma, could be the Albion. Then we've gone through both of those. Then you will have to be a little bit more careful with your fusion summons in the future.
It is the Albion. And we are getting rid of the Trackmaker. We were afraid of that being used as a Synchro Material, because if it would have been, we could have just gotten one of those cards back into the hand, or in the case of Mirror Jade, back into the extra deck. And of course, that's such a good way to remove it, because then you are working around the graveyard effect of it.
But is Guillaume where he wants to be right now? Because he's now going to summon a Mix. Mix is going to add either Q or Rekko, one of the two. You could also add a Rotary, to be fair. But if Paul Robert attacks over it, he just has the Albion Surge in the end phase. Mirror Jade is not going to be live in the next turn. He has the Forbidden Crown. That is going to be a big issue for Guillaume.
That's what I'm thinking.
In the future. But yes, he is actually indeed searching the Rotary, so that pushes through at least one. Mirror Jade unusable next turn because it fully resolved. And then you could perhaps Trackmaker Synchro a way to get rid of the Mirror Jade. And the resources that are built up by Paul Robert, they are not too big. He has one Destruction Protection in the graveyard, and he has Incredible Ecclesia as an add-back in the end phase.
It's a tricky game state, but that is what we want to see here at the most important match of their tournament. Everybody can play out their combo, but when it gets down to those niche game situation, those game states that they haven't practiced before, where they are on the spot, where they have to find a solution to a new problem, that's where the best players in the world are shining.
In case of emergency, play Fallen and the Virtuous. This card has been heavily dominated.
Seems to be the theme, right, in this format.
Yeah.
Whenever you are in need of something, just activate Fallen and the Virtuous.
It took the community like 2 weeks to figure out how incredible this card is.
Well, I knew right from the beginning, Leo.
Yeah, you did. You definitely did, Dusty.
So we are passing things over. Guillaume with his signature sleeves. that card may be forbidden, but is his entrance to the World Championship also forbidden by Paul Robert Goss here?
Can he be denied one more time, or is Guillaume finding the strength, finding the lines to get through this Mirror Jade that can't be activated? The Fallen and the Virtuous. And the
so that's Rotary? Rotary, and what else that was?
I haven't seen it.
I think it was another Q-Tune name. And Paul Robert, knowing that there is another Q-Tune name, of course, makes it less appealing to get rid of that Rotary. Can we somehow get rid of our card in hand? That makes the Rotary, of course, also way less appealing.
You Fallen and Virtuous. This, you don't have Fallen of the White Dragon in the graveyard, so Rindbrum not really the best option here. I think you have to send something for a follow-up, like Titaniclad, that would help you in the end phase if Guillaume is trying to build up a field and not try to win the game this turn. Or something like the Dogma that also does help, that gives more resources since we're all out of Albions.
It is Dogma, and it was Q-Tune Synchro the entire time!
That forces out possibly the last interaction. I think Paul Robert is going to have to let this go, because I think he needs to find a more valuable target for the Forbidden Crown. Also, you were saying trying to get the hand empty. He could have also decided not to add back the incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous.
Yeah. We had it empty, but we wanted it back on the hand size of 1. So that's very interesting. Can we respond with our Forbidden Crown here, or is it too valuable? And as you are suspecting, it is too valuable. We are waiting for a better moment to use it. And Guillaume, therefore, is resolving his Q-Tune Synchro here.
So Guillaume also the entire time had 2 Q-Tune Synchros.
He had, yeah. He was very, very careful with those.
Yeah.
He did not want to give another draw to Paul.
He was never too hasty. Oh, the Forbidden Crown is going to be a evil surprise. Because I think that was one of the cards he drew off of the Fubalos.
Was it? I feel like we saw it. I feel like we saw it already. I think it should be known. So Guillaume is playing around it.
So the Trek Maker.
I mean,
still banished.
Yeah, it is banished. And that means, of course, also that if we go into Trackmaker now soon, then that is the second and last Trackmaker in Guillaume's extra deck, of course, making the grind game a little tougher. We are going to get that rig. Oh, okay, and I mean, that's why I possibly would have liked to actually just go in on that Rotary, because now with the Reco being used for that Synchro Summon, we have to activate the Forbidden Crown on this Trackmaker, because otherwise it will just be destroyed.
Yeah, there was also a world in which you don't activate the Trackmaker here, just so you can resummon it later on and the Crown doesn't stop you from this hard once per turn effect. But I think just activating it does also make sense. So Guillaume is going to be able to get another Q-Tune Synchro or JJ Q-Tune.
Wait, hold on. Paul is not certain about how to use this Forbidden Crown. Yes, you could negate that Trackmaker here, but maybe you also just want to make absolutely sure to keep the Mirror Jade unaffected by battle for the rest of the turn.
Yes. Or even another card.
Ooh.
I think the Mirror Jade makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But if the Trackmaker cannot be synchroed off, the only way Guillaume could get rid of that Mirror Jade is by not bouncing it back.
Yeah.
So then again, what are we resolving this on? I think he resolved it on the Trackmaker,
yeah,
right? So
he did.
The Mirror Jade is either not going to be removed, or it is going to be removed so that it triggers.
In a favorable way for Paul Robert. And now Guillaume still gets, of course, the Rotary going. And Leo, if here we did not have that Ecclesia in our hand, the Rotary could have not been activated, or at least, I mean, it could have been activated to get something out of the graveyard.
It could have spinned the Dogma back. That would have at least helped a little bit.
But then we have our Mirror Jade on the field against very little on Guillaume's end, and Mirror Jade is going to give us resources next turn then anyhow by getting, for example, the Dragon that devolves the Dogma into the graveyard. So I feel like getting that Ecclesia back into the hand there in the end phase may have been that small little misstep by Paul, but of course, it's still not over just yet here in this game.
Yeah, that Ecclesia could have also just been added back to hand in the opponent's turn. Guillaume is normal summoning Q, and now he's checking the graveyard. What can I already summon? Have I already gone through something important? Possibly a remix? No. Summons back the Reco from graveyard, so that there are more top decks in the deck Rekko is now also activated, and at this point I think we know that Paul Robert is not going to have any interactions. Is this going to be one of those huge cool tune turns in which you try to win the game? Because there is a lot of monsters on the side of Paul Robert, and keep in mind there is branded opening in the graveyard, so destruction protection is granted.
That is true. Guillaume, with plenty of great tournament runs throughout his career, just at the French National Championship, he was very close to making another top 8 run, which you personally denied him there in the last round of Swiss. But he gets the chance here in this tournament, where it matters even more, where even more is on the line, where he could represent France, his home country, at the World Championship eventually. Will he be able to, though? Because this game stage right now, he is free to do whatever he wants here for the rest of this turn, because there is no further interruption from Paul Robert. But we have to be worried about the Ecclesia and the hand waiting, and also we have to be worried about how to deal with that Mirror Jade, because if that sticks around, it's a real big deal on the upcoming turn as well.
The upside is that you are going to be able to manipulate the top deck. So the Q is already doing some heavy lifting there.
True.
Hopefully for Guillaume. What are we adding? Considered the mix. Perhaps we're taking a mix from the deck. Yep.
We do.
Want to get the mix out of there. Keeping some more Rekkos in there, unless we have gone through all the Rekkos actually. I think after we've searched one more with Cool Tune Synchro, we might have actually gone through a lot of those. So, what's next? Because did we add Cool Tune Synchro with Rotary, or did we actually add something like JJ Cool Tune?
Leo, do we even have another Cool Tune Synchro? Because we definitely went through 2, and I don't quite remember whether on the first turn we went through 1. I want to say we did not, because our first turn was rather simple. So there's 1 remaining in rotation, so that must have been the Surge as well, yeah.
Or the JJ. But I don't know. If you got crowned on the Track Maker, then I don't think you need the JJ for anything. I don't think it helps in any situation.
There is the 3rd copy of Cool Tune Synchro indeed.
And we're grabbing the JJ Cool Tune. Now Paul Robert is just checking, is that even possible?
It is.
It is.
But it is weird, isn't it?
Yes.
Because that could have been the reverse order, where we just immediately add the JJ Q Tune, securing a Q Tune Synchro remaining in the deck, because now we're all out of them.
And now Guillaume is just normal summoning the mix, checking the graveyard. What can I add? It's either a level 1 or it is a level 3 monster. You cannot add Clip with it.
Guillaume is one more time taking a deep breath here. He knows how important this game is, because he cannot afford to lose another game. He is with his back against the wall. He needs this game and the match to be representing us at the World Championship in Tokyo.
RS, let's count cards.
Ooh, yeah. Let's have a little math lesson here.
Maybe that was the big plan from Paul all along, to get the Ecclesia out of the graveyard so that RS has less attack.
Yep, might be. Not gonna lie, could very well be.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not a lot.
Well done, Leo. I didn't think you could get us there, but we have figured out how much attack there is on RS.
I have my moments.
Okay. Lovely.
So I think, and that is a very nice play from Guillaume, the next play is to go into Loudness War to protect the other tuners from card effect destruction.
I like that. I like that a lot. So the thing is, with the Track Maker now staying on the field for sure until the end of the turn, and then for the beginning of Paul Robert's turn, we don't really get any use out of its graveyard effect here this turn. So with all of our Q-Tune Synchros being used up, we would need the Clip actually to ever get it into the graveyard for a Synchro Summon here, which is not necessarily amazing. Here comes Branded Opening, protecting us from destruction that Mix was trying to get in.
I like just trying to get it out of there with the Mix effect. By just, it's one less thing you have to worry about, and I don't think you're going to go for a game this turn anyway, so rather running over everything seems more suitable for the situation. You kind of can't leave the Mirror Jade on the field.
You cannot, that's true. Q-Tune Loudness War, are we going to go into that, or is that not the way to go right now?
I think you can definitely do that after the battle phase, because now you can use Q and Rekko to run over the Rotary and the Albion.
Battle phase it is.
Aluba.
Runs over the rotary. Runs over the Aluber.
Is the RS not big enough, or does he not?
We don't want to get over it, I think.
We tributed the Q.
And there is the clip. I was mentioning that. That's our only way to somehow get that Trackmaker back into the graveyard with a Synchro Summon.
Do we just leave the rest of the cards on the field like that? Because I think Clip plus into Trackmaker plus Rekko is actually really, really nice. I think...
Oh, we're passing.
Now the Dragon that devours the Dogma can activate its effect.
Okay, that also actually... The Q would have never been so good, because we would have never actually had the chance to have the consistent top deck stacking, as we would have always, in the end phase, messed up the order of our deck anyhow, as we are resolving here that graveyard effect of the Dragon that devours the Dogma, and that gives us Fallen and the Virtuous. And honestly, Leo, Fallen and the Virtuous and Mirror Jade that will be live once more here for the beginning of the turn. I do see an opener here for Paul Robert to make this a clean 2-0.
If Guillaume survives this turn, and that is a big if, there's going to be no more Cool Tune Synchros in his deck. Rotary is going to be useless because JJ Cool Tune is out as well. There is one RS that is stopping you from going to Tokyo right now. However, you can just activate Fallen and the Virtuous onto the RS. You have the Mirror Jade as well.
Yeah.
Things are looking rather good. However, if you go for a Fallen and the Virtuous onto something like the RS, I think you have to do it in draw phase. Otherwise, there's a potential Clip Summon, Clip Trackmaker, go into Loudness War, and then your monsters cannot be destroyed anymore and cannot be targeted, or the other ones at least. So you have to be very, very hasty with the Fallen and the Virtuous. And I think this is the first move that Paul Robert is going to do in his turn. We don't know which phase he is in because we cannot hear the players, but I would assume it is the draw phase.
It gotta be the draw phase for sure. We haven't done anything else, so first move is on Paul and it will probably be in the draw phase.
I think he picked up Brandon in High Spirits.
No way. That's a huge pickup.
But I'm not very sure.
If it is, it may as well be the card winning him it all.
So Paul Robert is now still contemplating what can you do.
For a second it looked like he's targeting the Mirror Jade. Or are we chaining the Mirror Jade? Oh wait, no, we haven't even activated the Fallen Virtuous. For me, it looked like he already activated the Fallen Virtuous, but we're starting off with the Mirror Jade, which kind of leads to the same scenario. As long as you're getting rid of the RS here before the main phase starts in one way or the other, that's good, but we want to maybe even go after the track. I mean, if we get rid of the Trackmaker here, that means our Mirror Jade will never leave the field without going into the graveyard. Second Trackmaker banished, so that is making that clip in hand way less appealing.
And Guillaume just has to let it go through. Now Paul Robert is considering, are we going to use the Fallen and the Virtuous? Yes, has activated it now.
We want to destroy. Yep, we're sending from...
Oh, Ecclesia and the Dark Dragon.
Boom.
RS is immediately popped. This is moments away from history for Paul Robert. This could be one of the most important moments of his life. There is no interruptions on the field. He has set up the Ecclesia already. This is going to take away more cards from Guillaume. He is having some cards on the field.
We went main phase, and we wanted to end the main phase, giving Guillaume the option to activate Clip, but we're chaining Brandon in High Spirits. Leo, you saw it right. We picked that up for turn. What a pickup that is, sending the Ecclesia to the graveyard.
And that is insane, because the Clip will resolve, and that is going to trigger the Gran Guignol. The Gran Guignol can get out that Quem. You have added the Fallen and the White Dragon to the hand. Quem on the field is so dangerous now for his opponent. This card is setting up Paul Robert for the win. The one information that was lacking for Guillaume was the top deck, the Branded in High Spirit, and that is going to be so crucial. Paul Robert, after so many years of playing the game, after so many big wins and so many big losses, so many times being close to those grand victories, he is moments away.
Oh, you read it right. Gran Guignol effect right away, as we have met the condition of it. That Clip resolving. Of course, it was activated before the Gran Guignol ever hit the graveyard, but that doesn't matter as long as the Gran Guignol was in the graveyard when it was resolving. So, Guillaume will try to stop Paul here, but can he do it?
How is he going to do that with the RS? Guillaume will need to find a way. He has so few resources. Clip is going to banish the dragon that devours the dogma. That is right at this moment not the most important card in the extra deck.
Oh my. Can we do this? Paul seems strong enough. Paul seems willing enough. He seems concentrated enough, even though the day was long. So many duels, but this may be the deciding duel already for him here. Possibly making it a 2-0, but hold on. We are going to first of all use RS, trying to negate here.
And the Quem will be negated. I think that was signifying that it did resolve, but the RS can just be spun back by this Ecclesia, the Dark Dragon. Perhaps, oh wow, we even have Windbomb from the last turn.
We do.
So strong. I think we can also just spin away the Kewl tune to deny more follow-up. Honestly, the extra deck of Paul is also getting rather slim, but that is what the Ecclesia and the Dark Dragon is for.
That's the thing, we could even recycle the banished dragon that develops the dogma there, as we can not only get those cards from the graveyard, but also banish. But we also still just have the Fawn of the White Dragon in our hand. Like, this is crazy. We get another card into the graveyard. There it is, activating it, sending Titanic Lad. Our options get more and more and more, and Guillaume will need another interruption here to somehow stay in this game.
I think Guillaume has something like an Effect Veiler that could be used here. You could theoretically, even though the Quem is negated, chain block the Fallen of the White Dragon to stop a Ghost Spell or something like an Ash Blossom, because we have the Effect Veiler. This is going to negate the Fallen of the White Dragon. Now I think it is time to use Ecclesia from the graveyard, spin back something from your opponent, put it back into the extra deck, and then go for your first Synchro 8 on the side of Paul. That is going to amass so many resources. That is going to be the way into Cartesia, and with a setup of Quem and a possible Cartesia, you are going to be able to summon back that Mirror Jade as well. That is the moment in which Branded amasses almost infinite resources. This is the moment where this deck never stops playing anymore. This is the game that Branded wants to play, and Paul Robert is just sitting in the middle of it.
Some players were scared to bring Branded into this tournament because of the new Chaos Ritual decks and them having a pretty decent matchup into it. Not Paul though. He was one of the ones making top 8 with it, and I think we even have multiple top 8 participants on that Branded strategy, so that pick certainly paid off for many people. Now Guillaume, is there anything else? Hopes for himself and for all of France, as we know that that community is really cheering their players on when they're trying to perform on the big stage. But he is currently not looking like he could be fighting on against that onslaught of Branded cards here.
He is a national champion of France. He is beloved by the community, and he has been so close to getting a ticket to the World Championships before, just merely 2 years ago. Having this elimination match did not go to Worlds then. He really wants to go. You can see it in his eyes, but it is not looking great. Paul, of course, this is an untimed top cut. He can take his time with those difficult decisions.
Oh, battle phase, and we are not even going to attack over the RS because it ain't big enough, that Mirror Jade, so we are sending it in, destroying it with the battle, and that means we are going to get that end phase effect of it, and in the end phase then it will be able to destroy RS, which now is interesting because I thought we tried to get rid of all of those track makers to make sure that this card is never really ever going to happen to be in the graveyard in any other way than the opponent destroying it, but we figured this out. Ooh, we're now putting the Mirror Jade back into the extra deck with the Ecclesia, so that's another card taken away. We just get rid of the JJQ tune, so that is going to be so little resources for Guillaume. Can he make a comeback? He gets another turn, but he will need to find a good top deck, as Paul Robert just did with the Branded and High Spirits as well, of course.
Paul Robert is going to have a massive end phase as well. Quite a bunch of cards have been sent to the graveyard. Most importantly, the Titanic Lad. Actually, how much does the Titanic Lad even do at this point?
We're in the end phase. Ecclesia back into the hand. Paul was kind of shaking his head. Did he forget about the Mirror Jade, maybe? There's no way. Is that even an optional effect?
It has to be sent by an opponent's card.
Oh.
I think it is crashing, honestly, when you're in battle by an opponent's card.
Oh, Ghost Ogre, though, on the Fallen of Albas. Their last card in hand remaining for Guillaume. Last card destroyed by the Mirror Jade. So Guillaume is in absolute top deck mode.
He now needs to find any cool tune names. Otherwise,
Heart of the
is
card.
going to run away with the game. Guillaume Marron, this is your moment to get back into this game. This is the time where you top deck. He passes back. He passes back. Now he has nothing on the field, so Ecclesia cannot spin anything back. Nothing can be triggered. But I think that Ecclesia has already been.
Yeah.
It has spun back the JJ cool tune. So I think Paul Robert can just go into the Ecclesia next turn and start really amassing resources.
So Paul is just thinking whether he wants to use the Rindbram now in the end phase maybe, and it looks like we are going to do that. And there is Fawn of Albas in our graveyard, so why not?
He gets out the Fawn of Albas, perhaps just to get another body.
Yeah.
He's drawing a card. Guillaume Marron has nothing to his name. No cards in hand. One card in hand, no cards on the field. Is this last top deck the hand trap that is going to save his Johnny?
Oh, we pick up Molchami Fuvolos on Power Robots, and only imagine if it would have been the other way around. Drawing the Molchami Fuvolos first and then drawing the Brandon High Spirits. This game would be over at that point in favor of Guillaume, but due to Paul last turn picking up the Brandon High Spirits, he is all of a sudden in the driver's seat here.
Now Paul can just go for the Synchro Summon. Has used the Rindbram just to get out on there. There is the 3 champions of Sword Soul.
And that is, of course, something that may even be better than that Ecclesia, because it gets you the Cartesia, but also it stays on the field, providing those 2,500 attack points. And that's already, with those 2 cards on the field, half of what we need to make this our game, to make this our match, to make this our dream, to go to the World Championship.
Cartesia is being special summoned. Guillaume is shivering. I don't know, at this position there's not a lot you can do. He doesn't have the agenda over the game anymore. Paul Robert, he is not too happy that he had to use the Quam as synchro material, because it rather wants to stay on the field when synchro summons are being performed. He is looking for a line to possibly find game to get him to Tokyo.
Is there a possible line for 8,000 points of damage? Surely there gotta be with all of those monsters.
1,500, 4,000 damage, 5,800 with the fall of the White Dragon. Molchami Fuvolos also adds 100.
Well, you may as well normal summon it, sure. But Paul, he's searching for a solution. This is the 3rd Fuvolos now in total in this game. The first 2 did some real heavy lifting, but this one now is a little late to the party.
He so far hasn't sent a fusion monster.
Oh, he's shaking his head. Is this just battle phase and pass over?
Is he out of Granguignols?
He's on 2. I don't think he's out of them, no.
Because Granguignol would be a way to at least get all of the end phase triggers, because he hasn't sent a fusion monster.
True.
This turn. He has also recycled a bunch of cards.
Oh, Powell is going to use that effect, maybe. Oh, he's not sure himself. Is it more damage when you just go battle phase, or do you want to do this first? And seems like we have now activated the effect of Blazing Cartesia.
I think at this point you really do not care about damage anymore, unless you can win the game immediately. And now Secretarion Dragon is being summoned by Paul Robert. Meanwhile, on the other featured match, Tim Gräfe won. Another German is already in Tokyo. Can Paul Robert make it to Secretarion Dragon? Is going to summon out the Albion or the Cartesia. One of the 2 Albion goes back to the extra deck. Another resource. Cartesia is summoned to the field. That is already more damage, but it's not quite 8,000 yet. Fuvolos is being summoned. Do you have another Synchro Monster that you can make with those 2? There is one of them as a tuner. We are nearing the damage, but this is right now 7,900.
That's Ecclesia. Almost there.
Do you have a way to get more attack points onto that field? Ecclesia. And
It is
the fist
enough!
bump!
Paul Robert Goss is going to the World Championship with that 2-0 defeat over Guillaume Marron, and his dream becomes reality.
incredible scenes at the EUWCQ in Brussels. Paul Robert greeted by his friend and former world competitor Tom Kleinegräber. And on the other side, there is Guillaume, one of the best duelists in the entire world, one of the favorite of all of the French players. He is going to have his moment in the future, but it is not now. This is the time of Paul Robert, who showed everyone that Branded is still, even though Chaos is in the tournament, one of the best decks. This deck can get you anywhere.
One of the players in Europe that may not have had the biggest name just yet in the community, but was always mentioned by a plentitude of strong players, like you just saw Tom Kleinegräber, that is really, really good at deck building, always was involved in deck building for all of those top tournament decks, and now finally building a deck that brought himself the success here at the EUWCQ.
What a match. Two people from the main event we have sent to the World Championship now, and it is time to find out who the other two are. We have two more
spots remaining at the World Championship. That's true. And interestingly enough, I mean, you have seen who's in top 8. There's already one of them qualified. So let's see whether Danilo will be able to still compete in this tournament or whether he is going to be eliminated. Stay tuned, everyone. 2 more matches to come. So make sure to watch both of them on both streams. See you in a moment.